Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Pike Homestead. My name is Adam, and I want to talk to you a little bit about some of our plans for rewilding our landscape here. So as you know, the farm we bought, the 25 acres, was originally a cattle operation. And what that means is most of the landscape is all pasture land, all fields. So there's not a lot of, there's a good, decent biodiversity for, prairie grasses. But as far as trees and stuff, a lot of them have been cleared out. And that means, a lot of the life that comes with, trees and shrubs aren't here. So while we get, all the grasses and, the bugs and mice and birds that all, habitate in them, while there's trees on the property, there's not a lot of them. And so one of our goals here is to really kind of bring back the wild to our land here. And to do that, that means, planting trees, shrubs, letting things kind of grow, and letting the natural biodiversity kind of come back, providing habitats for all the local flora and fauna. There's mice, they make their homes in the grass and run away from the lawnmowers, but I'd rather have it where we don't have to mow a big chunk of our grasses here, right? It's just not doable with the equipment we have, first of all, and with just our goals for the place. Part of living our homestead dream here is for it to be sustainable as well, and that means inviting nature back in. It's all been cleared except around the edges in places like this for a windbreak around the house, where the trees are all in a straight line, right? So that's something we want to bring back, is a little bit of the wild touch to our land here. And the thing is it's also something we can do fairly cost effectively. I've been looking into other homesteads and farmers who have kind of followed this kind of ethos and just let things kind of go, and nature takes care of itself. You let it grow. Just for an instance here, some tiny little spruce trees popping up, and these, they won't really have a chance here under their parents, but I take a hand and transplant those over into the pasture over here, and all of a sudden they're starting to grow and get bigger and give more, area for the local wildlife. So the deer and the moose even to come in and take a look at what's here. Again, birds, the wild bees, all the pollinators, and bring them back. And all these things are a benefit to the farm. The biodiversity is a big benefit to everything we want to do here. So it really kind of pays for itself. And the thing is we've got the natural trees here. We've got the birch trees, we've got the poplar trees, we've got the spruce trees. They're all native to the area. And, it might take a while, but they're here and they'll work. We'll be adding in more as well, like getting some older saplings and bringing them in, and just kind of establishing kind of a wild habitat for them and everything that comes with it. Now, of course, this will bring, dangers as well. That will, having everything else here will bring predators and stuff, but, that's why we've got the dogs. But, the rest of the landscape here, I'd rather not have to be worrying about how tall that grass gets, right? If I can have a bunch of trees there bringing in the deer, so what if we lose a bit of grass in the long run? I'd rather have my own little forest to walk the dogs in. And that's kind of what we want to be doing. Bringing nature and the wild things back in and living more in harmony with them. Because over time, with permaculture, what you find is it tends to balance out when you're using natural processes. So there'll be bad years before we get to that balance. One year, all of a sudden, we're going to have a whole bunch of pests coming in and eating our crops, right? But then the next year, there'll be birds eating the pests. And then we'll have something eating those, and the cycle continues. It's somewhere around 7 or 8 years generally using permaculture principles to get to that balance. And that's kind of what we want to be doing. But we want to be doing it across as much of the 25 acres as we can to keep that, natural wildlife and everything as a part of it to help maintain that balance. We'll have some, fruit trees and berry bushes all scattered throughout along the trails, and everything past the trail will all be, natural trees, like the ones that are supposed to be here, living their wild lives. And not only does that help give us a balance, it also gives us something to tend and maintain, and it's also a source of, things like fuel for our fireplace for winter, so we can cut down on our heating costs. So this is a way that we can do it more naturally, and it gives us also byproducts that we can use for other things, like ash for the chickens, which they use for, cleaning themselves, as well as a source of charcoal for them, which is good for their diet. So yeah, we want to be rewilding as much as we can. Like I know we said it was part of the plan for the plot where we're going to be setting up the garden, but it's something we want to expand across our entire landscape here, so that not just that 3-acre field where we're going to have an acre of crops. Well, what are we going to do with the other 2 acres? Let's make it more natural, right? It won't only help with the biodiversity, it'll also help with other things such as water retention in the soil and a wind break, because the winds do get fairly high here. Help firm up some of the swampy ground there as well, along the edges, without altering the natural water course or anything. But there's a fair bit of swampy ground, we assume. We'll be finding out soon enough as everything's melting. But that's kind of what we want to be doing here. I wouldn't mind at all if kind of our paddocks and corrals here were kind of the last, managed and maintained part of the actual farm. And everything else has trees and bushes and everything. With a trail we can walk around and just enjoy our land. So anyway, we want to be rewilding the place. That's what it means to me. What you think about, trying to reestablish and maintain a natural balance? Would you do it if you could? And any suggestions for how we go forward, even, because we're kind of global ideas here, but the actual work and everything like that, we're still not sure exactly how we're going to do it. I know I've got some saplings here, but not a ton, and we're going to have to source those. So any suggestions in that regard, feel free to let us know. All right, I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for spending your time with me today. And have a good rest of your week. Thanks.